This is LibreQuest. My name is Matt. It is the 10th of February 2020, and today I have some articles. First article is going to be from omgubuntu.co.uk. This article is written by Joey Snedden, and it is titled GNOME 3.36's new default background is seriously cool. Have you seen the default background for the upcoming GNOME 3.36 release yet? If not, have a glance above. Admittedly, the new GNOME 3.36 wallpaper is not exactly a break with tradition. It's once again predominantly blue, and once again features a variety of geometric shapes, fractal lighting, and abstract arrangement. But the steel blue used in the new Adwaita background is much colder vibe than the purple and pink hues mixed in with the GNOME 3.34 wallpaper. So, yes, a wallpaper article, and it is pretty nice actually. I see a nice hexagon going on there. Actually, kind of looks like, honestly, looks kind of like a hexagon Pac-Man, which that's totally rad. So, alright, the historical article for today is from February 10, 2008, and this was from Phoronix.com, an article written by Michael Larabelle. It is Linux 2.6.25 RC1 kernel release, that is the release candidate kernel, with the final release of the Linux 2.6.24 kernel at the end of January. The first release candidate for Linux 2.6.25 is now out the door with the long 2.6.24 development cycle. There is quite a few changes for the Linux 2.6.25 kernel, and it includes 1.4 million lines of diffs, which amount to about 11 megabytes. Most of this work, however, boils down to the architecture and driver updates. Of note in this release is the Intel video driver now working on suspend and resume natively, ACPI and other general suspend resume changes, and many cleanups from the x86 merge. The release announcement for the Linux 2.6.25-RC1 kernel can be read at lkml.org. So, of course, I'm going to link both these articles at the end of the show when I post it, and you can find this show over on LibreQuest.org. You can also find it on archive.org, and in other news, I'm moving away from the YouTube platform, and it's not because I don't enjoy using YouTube, it's because the terms of service are not as permissive as I like, and I found an alternative. It's actually a startup company called brighteon.com, and the terms of service are incredibly permissive. And so for that reason, I'm actually going to be putting the video version of the show over there. So if you're an archive.org listener, thank you so much for listening. And I know it's been 94 days or so since I've done an episode, but hopefully I'll be able to be back doing the show a little more consistently. So this is the last episode of LibreQuest that is going to be posted on YouTube. Those episodes aren't going to go anywhere, I would assume. So they're just going to be hanging out there. So if you're watching this on YouTube, you can check out more video versions of the show on LibreQuest.org or brighteon.com. And so I did explore a few different alternatives, and they've all got their issues. This one seemed a little better fit just because the terms of service were so permissive, and I like doing the raffle thing. I think raffles are fun, and everything that I put up on the raffle is like stuff that you can download over on an archive site, typically. Or it's abandonware or something like that, or it's not supported anymore. So it's not like the most it's not like I'm never going to do any like impossible to find or expensive thing. It's really fun. And if I'm not allowed to do that over on a platform, I'm not going to stay there because it's just something I want to do. It's the format I decided to go with for the podcast. So anyway, I'm sorry for being gone so long. Thank you everybody who's been listening to the podcast. I've noticed that there's still people listening over on YouTube, on archive.org. And that's cool. That's awesome. So, and there's already people who've been viewing the podcast over on the new video hosting platform that I'm moving over to, brighteon.com. So, thank you to everybody over there as well. So, this is going to be the first episode over there, new episode, and the last episode over on YouTube. So, thank you so much, everybody who's been watching the video version of the podcast over on YouTube. to everybody who wanted to subscribe and has been getting the content. That's really awesome. But like I said, nothing's going to change for archive.org. LibreQuest.org is still there. It's just the video side of things is going to be hosted now over on a different site. So what is the episode about today? It is about this, I don't know if it's a netbook or a laptop. I don't even know if netbook is a term that's still used. But who knows? So this is a Lenovo 11e. And I read a lot of reviews about this. A lot of people who are Lenovo users, Lenovo fans, they said this is the absolute hands down worst Lenovo product ever made. No, I think it's a fantastic product for the price range. The reason I say that is I picked this up refurbished for $50, which is fantastic. It has a metal bottom, a metal top. It is kind of heavy. But I don't mind heavy, honestly. The battery life is pretty good. I took it from North Texas to the Rocky Mountains and back, and the battery was good the whole time. And I was gone for quite a while, but the battery does fine on this. Extended use, 6 to 8 hours, somewhere around there. But gaming, anything newer than 2010 is going to be a no-go. On this system. It has the Intel graphics. It actually has a Celeron processor, which is a quad-core processor, and it actually would destroy maybe not so much the video side of things on the HP Stream 14, but as far as the processing power, yeah, absolutely. It's got a decent boost speed. I don't exactly remember what the boost speed is, but let me do a LSCPU real quick on here. Now this is I've actually got a vanilla install of Ubuntu 18.04, which is the LTS. Now I was running ROSA on here. I was having issues getting it to connect to the servers, to the repositories, and I wasn't able to get security updates. So I was like, I'm just gonna wipe this thing. So I did that. So let's take a look at what the CPU is on here. It is an Intel Celeron CPU. It is an N2940. That's like N as in November 2940, and it's at 1.83 gigahertz. Now, like I said, I'm not really sure what the boost clock is on that. And I'm going to pull that information up real quick. But it has a 1366 by 768 display, which is, it's fine for a small laptop like this. Looks like the boost is up to 2.25 gigahertz, which is pretty good, I think. And now this thing has a 4 gigabytes of low power DDR3 RAM. And as soon as I got it, I don't remember what the hard drive size was that came in it, but I put a 250 gigabyte solid state drive in it. I just, unless it's for backups or something like that, I really don't use spinning disk anymore. Unless it's for archiving or doing system backups and that sort of stuff. So that's kind of a must for me. I was a late mover. It took me a long time to actually move over to solid state, and I did in 2016. And after I tried it, I was like, I'm not using spinning disk anymore for my main storage. But at the same time, I don't trust solid state, so I have to have a spinning disk to do my backups, because my data is like yours is important. So let's see what else about the system. I'm getting sidetracked here. So it is a ThinkPad Lenovo 11e. Now the thing about the keyboard on this is that the function key and control key are swapped from where they would normally be, but if you go into the BIOS, you can actually make the function key your control key and the control key your function key, which I have done. Now it's got a nice size touchpad. It doesn't have the little nub or whatever you want to call it. I'm not sure if it's called a nub. Pointing device, it does not have that, which is kind of a bummer, because most Lenovo ThinkPads do have that. But it's got a really cool LED indicator on the back of the panel, on the back of the lid of the laptop, which is really cool for when it's in sleep mode or hibernate, or if your battery is low. It's also an indicator for that, which is, it's a nice touch to have that on the lid of the device. Is kind of nice. But this thing reminds me of the TC4400 that I used to have, and I used that for about 4 years. It just seems like a sturdy system. Something's rugged and if I dropped it, I would be okay with that. Or it would be okay with that, I guess I should say. But yeah, it's not a bad system. I feel like I'm forgetting to cover something here about the system. I don't know, but I probably am. But yeah, if I had to either buy this or the HP Stream 14 or the triple ebook, I would definitely get one of these. This is for the price range. It's a much more acceptable or hardy. It seems like a more hardy machine. But I did want to talk about a couple of programs that are useful. The first is just going to be what is. I've covered where is before. Let's do where is, and the program I'm going to be talking about in a minute is Xman. So where is Xman? That's going to be user bin Xman. But if I say what is Xman, it's going to give me a small description, and that's just going to be pulled from the first section of the manual for the program. So if you do what is, it'll just tell you Xman, which is, I said, what is Xman? It says Xman is a manual page display program for the X Windows system. Handy. So if we open Xman, you can actually go into the manual page, and inside the manual page for Xman, there is sections. We're going to go to user commands, and if you scroll down, or you don't even have to scroll down, there's just a whole lot of programs here listed, but you can go through and double click, and it'll bring up the man page for that, which is pretty handy. It's a pretty handy thing. Now, like I said before, if you for whatever reason, if you wanted to go into your binary directory and start executing programs, you can. Probably should do that on a virtual machine. But yeah, it's a good way to look through your manuals without having to actually use the command line. If you don't want to use the command line to read manuals, then it's a good option for not having to do that. So I think that's about it for the show today. Sorry I've been gone for so long, and thank you everybody who's been listening to the show. I was actually surprised when I got an email notification with my statistics from the YouTube side of things. I was surprised at how many people were actually watching the shows. That's kind of cool. So thank you, everybody. Thank you for the new subscriptions too over there. However, I'm moving, so sorry. It's about, for me, it's about terms of service, being able to do things the way that I would like to do them as far as the content that I'm making, and just talk about Linux and free software. So thank you for tuning into the podcast, and I will hopefully be back soon. All right. See you later.